Hi everybody, and welcome to the She Shed. This is a beginner's guide to spinning from a beginner. If you are an expert at spinning, this is not for you. You probably could give me a lot of tips yourself. If you're a savant, same thing, you probably can give me a lot of tips too. But this is for beginners. From me as a beginner, I've only been spinning, if I added up all the hours together, probably 2 to 3 months full time. And I'm just starting to get my yarn even. But I found it very hard to try and find bits and pieces to make myself better at this. I am completely self-taught, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I found it hard to get all the tips together in one spot. So I thought, why not do it myself, and I can help others out there. So here we go. Okay, so firstly, the wheel. The spinning wheel is your choice. I was very lucky in a sense that I got this wheel off Facebook on Marketplace. I've always wanted to spin, always, and left it for years and years. Never had the time, and this just felt right. So I went, okay, look on Marketplace, let's see what's there. And lo and behold, the stars aligned and this came up. Now this is a very old spinning wheel, old as in it's from the 1980s. And if you look online now, spinning wheels are really expensive. You can pay anywhere from, this is Australian dollars, 5 to over 1,000. You can get electric, they're called e-spinners. You can get ones like mine, which if I stand up, you'll see it is very unusual. I'd never seen one like this. It is a portable one, but in the 80s, this was considered nice and small. Nowadays, you can buy even smaller ones which go into a backpack, or you, for example, an e-spinner, electric spinner, you can actually take them anywhere because they're so compact and tiny they don't even have a wheel. But my spinner is called a Scholar. It is an Ashford. A lot of the wheels are Ashfords. They're made in New Zealand. And my wheel is a bit different to most. It comes with a very large bobbin. The bobbin is this thing. And you'll get to know that because that's what you spin all your yarn onto. There are many different kinds of bobbin sizes. I've got a problem. I can't get that size anymore. So they don't do them that big. I will show you the size of a bobbin that seems to be standard. This is a standard size bobbin. It's not going in front, so there we go. Okay. You might think that looks the same size. No, it's not. Let me put it on here and I'll show you the difference. Okay, much smaller. So that can be a problem when you're buying a really old wheel, is trying to find the bobbins that will fit your wheel. I'm lucky my wheel came with 3 bobbins. So that's good enough to spin 2 different coloured yarns or 2 same coloured yarns and then have a third one to ply it onto. We'll come to that on another episode. So I bought a whole heap of these ones thinking that they were going to be the same size, and they're not. So I actually used them to just store yarn on. It's even so small that is, you see a big end and a small end. My big end on this is smaller than my big end on the one that the wheel came with. So it just won't work. It won't fit show you, it won't fit on the fly. There we go, see, too small. So I've got a real problem. Anybody out there know where I can get a 23 centimetre fly? Every fly is 22. So yes, a bit difficult. Okay, so a fly, next step is this thing here. Okay, and when I was saying I needed a 23 centimetre because I got a measure from here to here, because that is 23 centimetres. 22 brings me too short and it wouldn't hook into the orificey bit here. Now, for you experts out there, I am not good with jargon. As I said, I'm still learning. So please correct me if it's not right. Okay, so that's the fly. The fly comes with all these hooks here. Now mine's old, so it comes with unusual looking hooks, and they're quite annoying because my yarn will often slip out of the hooks. So I am going to change them, and I am going to upgrade them to a curved around hook so my yarn doesn't fly out. The other thing with getting an old wheel means you're going to have a lot of repairs. So already I've had to replace the spring. Yeah. Now you can buy springs online at spinning stores. I went to do that thinking nothing more about it. Took 3 months before it got here. So in the meantime, couldn't be bothered to wait. I went to Bunnings. Literally went to Bunnings and got the smallest spring. There is the spring. Works beautifully and has been working great for months. So, yeah. If you want to get the genuine article, feel free to go into those wool stores that supply for spinning wheels. Otherwise, Bunnings will do just fine. Anywhere, house. Now, my wheel has an unusual tension. So there is a fishing line that goes all the way around, comes down here, and let me remove my yarn, and hooks onto this thing here. It is the bane of my existence. I can't stand the thing. It pops out all the time and won't keep tension. I finally will get it in and I'm like, don't touch it. But yeah, it'll pop out all the time. Once I get the tension right, I just don't go anywhere near it. And the tension is something I'm still playing with. Most people struggle with trying to suss out your tension. I've sort of got it now. I like, after playing with so many different yarns, I like certain yarns to spin, and you will have exactly the same thing. You will find yarns that you absolutely love, and you will use those above others, and you will find your own tension. I don't understand how it works. I've watched a lot of things that have tried to explain it, and it just doesn't really make too much sense with me. So I've just literally been playing around and trying to figure it out myself. Now on my wheel I have a drive band, and it is this thing here. Yes, it is literally just a piece of string. Now I've literally replaced that today. So what I do is, my other one frayed and got really loose and really made it quite hard to spin, because if it's not tight you're not going to get the other tension on this, and it's not going to spin the wheel, and therefore you can't make your yarn. So had to replace it. Replacing it's not the easiest thing you think it could be. So I took the old one off, got the length of string and tied it on. Now the way I had to do it was tie it on smaller than the wheel, and I'm lucky because my wheel adjusts, it goes up and down. You can see these screws at the back, they make it go up and down. So when I was doing up the yarn, you can see I've got a gap here. I extended my wheel all the way so it had the biggest length. Then I could make my string smaller, and then I adjusted my wheel down to fit the string, and that's how I got it. And once I changed the string, oh, the difference, so much better now. All right, so I'm lucky with this wheel being small that it's really easy to move around, and literally you just pick it up like that, really easy. So I'm constantly moving it around. I just sit on the couch in my she shed with my puppy next to me. That's Maggie. Say hello, Maggie. She's passed out. So she keeps me company, and I just spin away. The other thing on this wheel, it is a one pedal wheel. You'll see the one pedal down there, and a lot of wheels nowadays will actually have two pedals. I've never used a two pedal. I don't know if it's any better or worse. Maybe my next wheel I might get a two pedal. I don't know, I might never get another wheel. So a lot of people who get into spinning actually have a variety of wheels. Some wheels they say are a lot easier to use than others. I don't know whether this was a particularly easy wheel. The lady who sold it to me said it was simple, but I couldn't tell you. I've just learnt on it. My other thing on this wheel, and not all wheels come with this, is it comes with two spikes. So you can see 1, 2, and your yarn, when you've spun it and you just put it on there, and then it can move around. Now you'll need it to move around because when you're making, now I've undone it. When you're making a skein, it's a lot easier to do it off there. And it's also known as a lazy Kate. Now spinning comes with wicked names and it's a lot of new names to learn. But a lazy Kate is basically you put two of your bobbins that are full. Sorry, I don't have a second one that's full at the moment. I'm still working on it. So put your second two bobbins, imagine they're both full. I always put the large base down the bottom and the smaller up the top, because I'm less likely to have the yarn slip off and go underneath and get caught. So I always put the large down the bottom, and I've never had a problem. So this bit here is called a lazy Kate, and you get both of your yarns together, bring them up to your wheel, get started on your wheel, and then you ply them together. Now it's really difficult to do this from the front because you've got to pull it up and feed it in. Pull it up and feed it in. And it's really a pain in the bum to do this from the front. So, here's one I made earlier. I actually wish I made this with 3, so I might change it and put 1, 2, 3 nails. But I literally got a piece of board in my hubby's shed, sanded it down, found 2 big nails, and nailed them straight in. There's my lazy Kate. So this works brilliantly. Once again, get my bobbin, bung it on there. There we go. And it works exactly the same, and it is brilliant. And what I do is I sit this behind me. So I've got a little poof that I sit on. So I sit on that, and I put my lazy Kate behind me, and then I'm literally just pulling it from behind me straight into my wheel, and it's so much easier and it's so much better, and it just works so well. Rarely do you get tangled up and knotted up, and it's just so much better. So that's a brilliant tip. Works really well. Now while you're looking at these, you might be thinking, what on earth have you got a piece of string on there for? This is your starter string. I don't know what you actually would call it, but I call it the starter string. Always have your bobbins with that, because your bobbin's going to come bare. It's not going to come with anything on it, it just comes bare like that. So find some old yarn somewhere put it on there. And my tip for this, get 2 pieces of yarn. Sorry, start again. Get 1 piece of yarn. Hold on, it's really hard to do this with one hand. Excuse me. So that is actually 1 piece of yarn. Alright, and what I did was I got it, halved it, and put it around the middle. Tied it on, so you can see it's tied on there. Tied it on, and then brought the 2 together. And made a knot there. Alright, and then when you start your yarn, you get your fleece, you put it through there, curl it around on itself, and start spinning that way. Until I figured that out, it was a nightmare to start any project. But I'll go into more detail of that when I show how to start spinning on the wheel. And I might do another episode of that. Now, I think the last thing on this I need to show you is what's called a niddy noddy. Now, the niddy noddy, oh, excuse me, is this stick thing. Alright, let me put it down there, show you. Right, so you can see you've got this stick going this way, and then you half turn it and you've got the stick at the other end going the other way. And I will show you once I've spun some yarn and I'm ready to make it into a skein how this wraps on. When I bought my wheel, she gave me this niddy noddy. They're dead easy to make. You don't have to go to the spinning store and go and buy one. They will cost you, some can be a couple of $100. Everything you buy for spinning is expensive. You can make this really easy. Notice this is a square piece of dowel or piece of wood. You put a hole in the top, stick a piece of dowel into it, make sure you turn it 90 degrees, another hole down the end, stick a piece of dowel in it, and there you go. Now make sure the niddy noddy is 500 meters long, because when you do one complete turn around it, that's going to make a meter, and therefore you would know that how many meters your ball of yarn is going to be. Okay? Or in feet if you work in feet. Okay, so if you're going to go, if you need to know that you need 100 meters to make, I don't know, a beanie, then you want to be able to make up 50 of those, 50 of those lengths, and times it by 2, and there you go, you've got 100 meters. Alright, so that's for your niddy noddy. So whatever length you make, you need to times it by 2, and that's the length of the skein that you're going to make. Now, the other tip I did was after I made the skein, it's like putting it into a ball of wool. And that was really difficult because it's hard to, knit from a ball of wool that's running all over the floor. And a lot of people say put it into a jar or something and just pull it out of that. And sometimes it still can get knotted. I like cakes. You know those big cakes of yarn that you can actually pull the yarn from the middle and you never get a knot. That's what I love. So the thing that I bought, and I literally got it on eBay, cost me $30 something, is a ball winder. I love the ball winder. It is brilliant. And it makes a beautiful cake. Now I'm starting to sell my yarn, so it presents beautifully as well. And it's just so easy. You put the yarn in here, the yarn in here or here, it doesn't matter. And you turn the handle and it just makes a ball of yarn. It is brilliant. So once I've made my next skein that's ready to go, I will run through this with you and show you how I make it from here onto your nitty noddy. Get your skein. All the tips and tricks to get your skein. I hate plying, by the way. I really don't like it. I am plying this one. I'm making a shawl at the moment, so I am plying that. I really don't like it. I might change my mind when I get better at it, but at the moment I don't like it. But I like one ply. So just literally, I crochet, so crocheting straight from this, I really enjoy. And I'll give you all the tips of how to get a good yarn after, because nobody let me know this and I still can't find where else you can do that. So in the next video, when I'm talking about getting your yarns together, I'll go through that, my tips and tricks for that. And other than that, I think that might be all I have to introduce you to. I will go through a whole series of, I have a lot of fleece, alpaca fleece, and I'll go through the series of how I prepare that to spin and make up garments. And I'll go through a series of also yarn and how to ball up your yarn and some tips and tricks with that. But if you have any tips and tricks you'd like to share with me that will help me, as I'm a beginner too, fantastic. Alrighty, from me and Maggie, thank you so much for watching and have a great day, everybody.